as the Jacksons' victory tour kicked off in Kansas City in June of 1984. Michael Jackson was not only the hottest celebrity on the planet.
He's gorgeous!
What do you look like?
Good! Dark and handsome!
But he had also spent the previous 15 months atop a peak of success, fame, and public admiration that no other entertainer has reached since. Setting fashion and style trends, kicking it with the president.
Michael, please give some TLC to the PYTs. Now, I know that sounds a little off the wall, but you know what I mean.
At that time, the dude could walk on water. The acceptance and love for him was unbelievable. The media coverage was adoring.
So were the Grammy Awards.
And the winner is Michael Jackson.
Beat it, Michael Jackson.
All the things that people sort of thought was eccentric and they didn't like 5 years later, in 1984, all of it was charming.
Being with Michael at that time was, like I said, it's like being with Christ. People would see him.
People were so moved.
People would see him and start sobbing.
Thriller was already on its way to becoming the biggest-selling LP ever when the era that defined Michael at his pinnacle began on March 25th, 1983, as he unveiled the Moonwalk on the Motown 25th anniversary special.
He set the world on fire. When did somebody do a dance that set the world on fire? I was there, I was in the room, and it was like bristling. Everybody was like, oh my God.
In the summer of '83, Michael decided to do a video for Thriller's title track. He called John Landis, director of An American Werewolf in London.
He was fascinated with the metamorphosis that the character in An American Werewolf in London goes through. And that's what Mike wanted. He wanted to turn into a monster.
Working with his wife, costume designer Deborah Nadulman Landis, John Landis wanted to give Michael his first on-screen girlfriend. Among those he auditioned was a 23-year-old beauty named Ola Ray. Back in 1980, Ola Ray had cited Michael as her favorite singer in her bio for Playboy.
But I'm like, I said, you got to give me this part.
It must have been very convincing, Ola.
I can be sometimes.
When the cameras rolled in October '83, Nancy Griffin was the only journalist on the Thriller set. For this month's issue of Vanity Fair, she wrote about the making of the video, in which she also appears.
I remember very vividly the first night I was on the set of Thriller and I was sitting in the ticket booth. That was one of the nights when I saw him kind of cowering in the corner a little bit and looking around shyly, almost looking as if he wanted somebody to talk to him.
Ola Ray would prove happy to do just that, enjoying herself as John Landis directed Michael to charm her on their dance-infused stroll.
You try to scream, but
We only did it twice. It's about a minute-and-a-half shot. And you can watch it, and I don't have to do all this cutting around because he's great.
He had to flirt with me. He had to play with me, touch me, and flirt with me. So that was great.
What's that like to have Michael Jackson, playing with you, flirting with you?
What it's like is like, I got to fall in love. And I've never been in love before.
Their relationship would deepen in Michael's trailer.
We would just sit in his dressing room. We'd talk about food, religion, why he couldn't date me. You know, why we couldn't be as intimate as I wanted us to be.
Why couldn't he date you?
Well, he told me that there was someone else that really liked me on the set, and he couldn't cross that line.
But some lines were crossed all the same.
I think things got pretty sexy between Ola and Michael. Some very sweet kind of physical interaction going on between the two of them.
First base? Second base?
I would say I would say second base, maybe third.
Do you think it was farther than he'd ever been with another woman?
I wouldn't say that. I don't think he's that innocent. He's not that innocent. He definitely knew what he was doing, in his own little way.
As seen in the forthcoming book, Michael Jackson, The Making of Thriller, Michael's lengthy sessions with makeup artist Rick Baker were captured by renowned photographer Douglas Kirkland. So was Rock Hudson's visit.
Michael sees Rock Hudson and he just goes limp. He goes over to him and he's looking up to him like that as this great giant.
None loomed larger than the celebrity John Landis was to meet inside Michael's trailer late one night in LA's gritty meatpacking district.
And Michael goes, "John, do you know Mrs. Onassis?" And it was like, it was Jackie Kennedy with the pearls.
Thriller became a stupendous success for Michael, one of the best-loved music videos ever, imitated around the world. Yet both John Landis and Ola Ray would sue for royalties they felt they were owed. Even in late '83, there were signs of the issues that would overtake Michael.
I had the feeling then, and I expressed it to John, of real concern about him.
He was in a strange domestic situation. It's a kid who grew up on stage. He was still living at home in his parents' house.
I thought he was very lonely. I knew he was lonely.
When you looked into his eyes,
Yeah.
what things did you see?
I saw a child. I saw a child who needed love. It would make me cry. Just thinking about him, I don't like to. His personality was just so pure to me.
In January of '84, he was severely burned while taping a Pepsi ad. Then came the Victory Tour.
Shake your body. Shake your body.
Not a Michael Jackson solo tour, but a reunion of the grown-up Jacksons.
Unfortunately, he could not withstand the family pressure, and he agreed to do a tour which he did not want to do. Joe Jackson brought in Don King to promote it.
I compliment Michael as being one of the most astute businessmen for a young man that I've had the pleasure and privilege of meeting. He's a dynamite guy, not only on the stage, but at the boardroom table also. Right on, Michael.
Don King was a fight promoter, not a music promoter, and Don King eventually was marginalized by some of the more professional people that Michael brought in. The organization of the tour was very chaotic.
There were good parts, and there were some parts he didn't care for.
Ordered tickets, paid $120, can't get them. They just won't show up.
We've asked our promoter to work out a new way of distributing tickets, a way that no longer require a money order. I want you to know that I've decided to donate all my money I make from the performance to charity.
According to Michael, it was the first time they ever went on the road and came home with money. All the brothers made a pretty good salary.
I think that Michael's issue really was the money. He was generating such vast amounts of money, and there were so many people and corporate interests that wanted their share.
Thriller was probably the best and worst thing that ever happened to him, because then he spent the next 25 years of his life, in pursuit of something to match that.
Michael's response would be to withdraw even further, to live in isolated splendor, part of a lifelong loneliness that this woman once yearned to end.
We were supposed to have a secret rendezvous. A friend of the family's had contacted me, and we were supposed to meet in Vegas, but it never happened. Now it won't ever happen.